I think our elections are completely 100% fixed, all the way down to local races, because they can, because it's in the software. And the software covers all the races down to local. So I don't think that the border issue, I think they've made it the issue in the press and in the government to be talked about endlessly. But I don't think it actually has much to do with anything. What I do think is that, again, controversial Kate, right? It's a cover, because then what they can do is, well, let me put it this way. If you recognize that most of the nation, okay, a majority in the nation is conservative, and the minority actually is leftist liberal, okay? So how can the races always be so tight and close? It's never made sense, right? You can have this really tight race and you're going, but wait a minute. Most of the voters are going to vote conservative. Okay. So I think it's pretty interesting that we use the border issue as cover for the election process. Because what do we always say? You know, even Peter said it. Oh, well, the influx will change the election. The influx will change the election. The problem with that statement is it isn't, because if the voting is fixed and the software can be tallied, right, the way they want it to be tallied and favor the candidate that they've chosen, then how many people voting from coming across the border isn't going to matter. So I think it's cover for that. I think it's cover to make the elections look real. And then on the flip side of that, I just think it's a talking point that is offered, because honestly, how many talking points can you come up with around the border? We should never be letting people into our country illegally. We should never let them stay illegally. So if that's true, which it is, okay, even Japan, I mean, my gosh, all these countries with their immigration, they don't allow hardly anybody in, okay? Israel too, okay? If you're not Jewish, good luck trying to get in. So you can understand that we have this huge problem, and instead of maybe even really diagnosing the issue, like that's why I offered up, back in the 70s, we used to just say, deport yourself. That's actually what Kristi Noem's ads were saying, deport yourself. But maybe that's not the message that the deep state wants sent. Because if we keep this problem alive and well, then that means that they can continue to use it as cover for election fraud, massive election fraud. But also, so you're not going to ever get rid of this issue, right? And so we are going to build detention centers up the wahoo. We're going to keep building them and building them and building them. We're going to keep holding everybody. And we're going to keep having reasons and excuses why we have to do that and extend the legal system to them. We don't have to. They're not citizens. They don't have a right to our legal system. They're not a citizen of this country. We can criminally prosecute them, but that should be their only choice, should it not? All I'm saying is that we're not really looking at all the issues. We're not really understanding all the issues. And I think that once you go to what is election fraud and how does it impact us, and what's actually happening with that the deep state would like to keep kind of under the covers, then I think you can have an honest conversation about the border, because the border is tied in directly to that, right? In issue when they're discussing these issues. Now, caller Mark was right about the Americas. So Kristi Noem's new position is about the Americas. If you notice through the last year, the constant hyphening of US-Israel and the Americas. It's Canada and America and Mexico. It's Greenland, Canada, America, Mexico. It's America and all the Latin American countries. This is region speak. It's region talk. They're turning us into a region. Whether anyone likes it or not, it's been in the works since the 1940s. Well, before that, but really on paper in the 1940s. And it really came out of Bretton Woods, actually, was the regional perspective of how we need to just be groups of countries. But what does that do? It doesn't extend our constitution to the other countries. It just minimizes our constitution here in this country. And that's really something that people just do not want to hear about, sadly. And I don't know how else to say it, but it's been going on pretty at a pretty high rate since Trump was put in. And everyone that likes Trump or is on our conservative side, I'm very conservative, is on our conservative side is cheering it. I don't think they realize what they're cheering. I don't think they understand what they're actually cheering. We have a huge problem in understanding and ignorance right now. And how do you take a country and build 15-minute cities and do all of these things? You do it out in the open, right? And no one even notices it. That's the scary thing. So I don't know. It's just very, very, very strange.